All right, so today we're here with Koda and Rosebud, and we're going to help them learn how to walk nice and calmly together on the leash. So what we're going to be doing is using what we call the structured walk exercise, and we're using a martingale collar, and we're using a leash to go around their bodies. So what I want to show the guardians is to remember that because there's not a buckle, you're going to be sliding this over their head, and then you attach the leash to the D-ring collar just like normal, but then you take the leash and you go down around the belly and then up through. Always go up towards the head in the second loop. Dogs don't have shoulder sockets, so this is not going to hurt them. You won't be able to pull their shoulder out of socket or anything like that. When you walk forward, if they're lollygagging behind you, you keep your shoulders straight and you just walk forward. You don't try to call to them. Just keep walking and then they'll start to fall into place. However, if they start to walk in front of you, so if their nose is going much farther than the front of your toes, that's when you want to give them a quick correction. Now remember, you want to pull the leash straight up and then release your hand down just as quickly. You don't want to be holding your hand up for any length of time. Because this should be a very quick correction and something fairly mild just to help them learn to not to engage their opposition reflex. So you want to pull straight up and then down. So go ahead, and what we're going to do is practice walking down to the end of this driveway with Koda, and we're going to do this first one at a time, and then we'll have both dogs walk together. Again, if the dogs start to pull too much, you want to stop, stand still, and help them get into a position where the leash is loose on their body, and then you resume walking. If you can do a mild correction and have the leash get back to being nice and loose, you can keep walking. But if they keep pulling and keep engaging and pulling against you with a couple of corrections, that's when you want to stop and then move forward when they're nice and calm. All right, go ahead and I'll follow you. Good. Walk nice and straight. Good. I'd correct now. Perfect. Good timing. Good. Good timing. Notice that he's not continuing to pull too much, so he doesn't need to stop and stand still. Another tip that I just want to mention while we're practicing and walking down the driveway is when you're thinking about taking the dogs out for a walk right now, I want you to focus on having the dogs go out and practice not pulling on the leash versus thinking about this in terms of how far you're going to go for a walk. Perfect. That was a great time because his energy was increasing to have him go into stopping and waiting. Good job. Good job. Now it is sprinkling out a little bit, so he might be excited just to go undercover or go back towards the house, which is why he might be giving you a hard time. Dogs usually have one direction that's a little harder for them than the other. All right. So let's switch out and have Rosie go. Go ahead. Keep walking. Perfect. Good job. Now you want to keep her on this one side. There you go. Perfect. Now pull up and release your hand back down. Good job. Again. Good job. Perfect. Now, release your hand. Good job. Perfect. Keep walking. Just walk nice and straight. Good job. Excellent. Good job. Now you can turn around and head back towards the house. Just keep walking. Good. Keep going. Good. Perfect. See how she falls in line with you and she walks right next to you after you do that? Perfect. Just keep going. Good job. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so let's now take the both of them together, because one thing that the guardians noted when I got here is that the dogs get a lot more excitable when they're walking next to each other. So let's try having them both walk down to the end of the driveway and back. Another thing, as just a little dog training tip that I want to mention on the video, is when you're getting, a lot of times when we get dogs ready to go out for a walk, we inadvertently get them really excited by saying things like, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for a walk? And then notice both dogs turned and looked at me because they're familiar with that phrase. We want to phase that out, so actually say it more and more and don't follow through with the actual walk. So you're essentially desensitizing them to those words. Whatever energy the dogs have when you're leaving the house is what they're going to bring out on the walk. So we want to start off the walk by having them be nice and calm and low energy. So that means that we don't want to try to get them all ramped up. Another thing that you want to practice doing is having picking up their leash and collar, if that's another trigger to get them really excited. So you can pick up their leash and collar and then just set it back down. Put the leash and collar on them and then take it right back off. So you're essentially helping them learn how to relax, and it's not as much of a trigger. What you want to see is what you're seeing with Koda right now. If you ask him to go for a walk, he's happy, tail's nice and low and wagging, but he's not overexcited where he's starting to kind of freak out and get into that really hyperactive energy level. So those are ways to help get the walk off to a good start before you even begin.